It's me, man, you know it's me, the one and only me. Who else could it be? I said it's me, yo, it's me. I might charge you a fee because my life ain't free. I said it's me, yo, you know it's me. I put it up online for the world to see. I said it's me, man, you know it's me. And it's all about making that cash money. I said it's me, man, you know it's me. You might see me with a hottie on a boat at sea. I said it's me, man, you know it's me, the one and only me. Who else could it be? I said it's me, man, you know it's me. I might charge you a fee because my life ain't free. Yo, welcome to my page. You know my story is very interesting.
Welcome to the ItsMii Unlocked podcast. It's your girl Jasmine. It's episode 2, and diagonal for me is Emcee.
What's going on, people? It's Emcee. Let's get it.
We want to welcome today Jess The Facts. He's joining us on the second episode. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I do a lot of different things for work, but mainly music. So this year, for example, in 2021, I've released 6 albums so far. So I do everything independently, and I can do every facet of recording to mixing to mastering, scratching, production, everything. I can do it all on my own, and that's what I do. I just am an independent artist, and that's it. I think, to me, I make great music.
Yes, and you also made the ItsMii soundtrack, the intro.
Yeah, It's Me. The It's Me theme song. You can check it out. I think it has some value to it.
So, Jess, how long have you been in the industry?
Well, I've never really been in it because when I read this book, All You Need to Know About the Music Industry, when I was 17, and it basically said the more you get away from the record labels, and the more that you can control your content, the better. The more that you can own what you have. And so when I put out a song, I don't own 15% of it. I own 100% of it. And it's a big difference when you start dealing with bigger numbers.
Well, it's kind of like Chance did.
Mm-hmm.
Chance came out completely independent. And he even put out a song basically said, if the record label try to come at me, you got people that you have to deal with. So I agree that doing it on your own is far more beneficial to the artist than going through a record label if you know how to do it. I guess the question would be is what steps did you take so that you can be successful, because it's not easy doing it on your own.
Absolutely, and it's interesting that you bring up Chance, because Chance is a proprietor of what's called United Masters, which is I don't want to plug too many different sites, but it's a good site to where an independent artist like anybody, like myself, I could upload my music there and use them as a digital distribution platform, but yet still maintain my solidarity from being controlled by a bigger record label. So when I was younger, it's a different time, but when I was younger, all I did was I would take my own money, make my own music, and press up CDs and tapes and vinyls, and I would sell them at shows. And so that's the blue collar side of it. We'd book shows, we do 40 or 50 shows a year. And at those shows, I would sell my T-shirts, I would sell my records or CDs, depending on the era. And flash drives, we sold flash drives with albums on it. And so it was just really the blue collar side where the fans meet you, and you can just hand them something tangible. But now it's a little different because you got the whole world as your audience now, because you can reach everybody. But now you got to get it into their hands and into their ears, I should say, and that's the challenge now. And so a platform like ItsMii, what you guys are doing, is perfect for content creators to get their visuals and their audio out to the masses and get fans that they wouldn't reach. I couldn't sell something out of my trunk to somebody in Dubai because it's impossible.
Totally agree.
And so now I can't. Now I could.
Let me ask a quick question. Do you think that the music industry is in trouble now because of social media and how people are able to now reach their own fans? Like, I think Soulja Boy is like one of those people that went kind of viral on his own too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that moving forward in the future, the next 10 years, do you think that the music industry is going to be hurting a tad bit?
Well, that depends on who you think is the music industry.
Meaning the high up. Sorry.
Yes, of course, of course. But they're going to find a way, just like a pimp is always going to find a way, an angle to make their money. Right?
Yeah.
That's how I compare the record industry. They're going to figure out a way to angle and benefit off of the independent artists, and similar to DistroKid or United Masters, they're gonna take their percentage somehow, some way, on the streamings and whatever, and they're gonna. So money's flowing, and it's gonna trickle to whichever way they want it to trickle ultimately. So when we talk about who's really the record industry, to me it's the artist. And so it's going to be better for the artists as the further we get into this, where we separate from a pimp or a master, like somebody who's controlling the whole scenario. The further we get away from that, it's better for the people who I really feel are the music industry, the people who are the creators.
The real good artists to shine. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think as an artist, we're getting more empowered, which is great.
And I totally agree. I feel that the more people that get away from big record labels, the better it is for the music industry, because it puts the artistry, it puts the control into the people that actually making the music's hand. It's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like athletes. When athletes are playing, they're the ones on the field, but the owners are making all of the money.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of the same way for it. But you notice you start to see more like the LeBrons and stuff start to get into ownership roles, or Dwayne Wade and all them getting into ownership roles. So it puts that back into the athlete's hand versus it just going to someone that never stepped on the field.
Absolutely.
Same thing with the music industry. You're putting it in record labels' hands, these big record labels' hands, but it should be in the artist's hands, the ones that's actually producing music and in the studio and struggling to get their songs out and stuff like that. So I think it is better for the music industry overall.
And it takes the filter off.
Exactly.
It takes the filter off, because those big record labels, they have to bow down to other entities as well. And so if you're saying something that may be a faux pas against Coca-Cola or whatever, they're going to say, no, you can't say that. They're going to say, dumb it down, make it friendly for all people, make it digestible, make it watered down, so that the people can appreciate it. But that's not, I don't think that's how it needs to be.
And on the flip side of that too, it's a lot of record labels are having, namely black artists, put out music that they shouldn't be putting out.
Right.
Music that caters to the crime in the neighborhood that's taking place. And they're boosting that to kind of push it to the black people. Where, in all honesty, if the black people have more ownership over their music, they don't have to put out that type of music. They can put out music that people can groove to versus people can go shoot somebody to.
Right.
So I agree, giving the artists far more creative rights, it can do nothing but help the music industry. Now, big rappers are going to be mad.
Absolutely.
They're going to be mad because
and they're clinging
out of their pocket.
Yeah.
But if you stop manipulating people in the industry, then you don't have to worry about that money being taken out of your pocket. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's really what I think. I think it's a good thing for the industry.
I think I like that point that you made, because it sucks that you don't ever see black artists that are like country stars or rock stars too. I mean, obviously you rap and you're finding your way in that, but you want to also see, like, there's a lot of black people that might want to sing country, but you're not going to get signed to a label. They're like, nah, man, wrong department. You got to go over here.
It has to be marketable. They have to see the ROI, the return on investment. They have to see that in order for them to start investing and spending time and cultivating that artist. But if you can cultivate your own craft, then you're your own person and you're more original, and you might say something more valuable than, excuse me for disrespecting Britney Spears, you might say something more valuable than what Britney Spears would say on a record,
I agree. So you how long have you actually been producing your own content?
Since 7th grade, believe it or not.
Oh my goodness.
So I learned that I got grounded a lot for fighting and doing and getting kicked out of school and stuff. But I used to take apart stereos and put them back together. And then I heard Biz Markie when I was like 11, and I said, whoa, 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 what is this? What is this thing? What is this? What is this craft? And so then I fell in love with hip hop and started digging through everything, and I started looping samples from tape to tape on this old karaoke machine that I had. And so I started making my own loops and sampling stuff like they did back then with reel to reel, but I was just doing it on tapes, and so then I would make my beats like that, and then I rap over it. And at the time I was rapping similar to like I hate to say it, but like Too Short. I was rapping about, I was disrespecting all the girls in my school, you know, and it was funny to me.
Were bad.
It was funny to me, and I still have some of those tapes at the record shop. But I would disrespect all these girls if they didn't give me play or whatever, and even some of the dudes at school. And so I always battle rapped. I always did that. But that's how I started. I started disrespecting the girls and the teachers in school, and I had tapes out. I had legit tapes in 7th grade.
Now you know we're gonna have to dig some of those tapes out one day.
Oh, they're filthy. Filthy.
But why did you start doing that? Was that because like NWA was out, and were those the type of rappers you were kind of listening to?
I was here in LA then, and I was going to school here, and I heard the Chronic when it first came out. I got the Chronic on tape. I got Doggy Style on tape. I got Body Count, if you guys remember that record, which I think is a record that was very censored. A lot of people don't know about what, I had the first edition, and then there was a second edition that was a censored edition. I think it was Warner Brothers that was the subsidiary company, whatever. But yeah, and so I was with 2 Live Crew. I watched all that. I was here when the LA riots, and so I understood going from Tribe Called Quest to NWA was a different feel. You know, it wasn't party music. It was now conscious. Hey, I'm going to tell you what I see. I'm gonna make a movement. I'm gonna change the way people think, because this is how I think. This is what I see. This is my experience. And so for me, NWA and those guys here in LA was a big part of what I did. And later when I met Jerry Heller, and we used to, rest in peace, Jerry. We used to buy. He used to consult us on our record label, and we used to go get him some chicks, and we'd go to his house over. He lived 4 houses in Calabasas. He lived 4 houses down from Dr. Dre at the time, and we used to talk to Jerry and pick his brain, and it was some of the most. And so to go from listening to what he put out to sitting there with him and as an equal, it was surreal.
Well, I have a 2-part question. First part of the question is, I noticed you mentioned Biz Markie, you mentioned NWA. Who is your biggest inspiration for wanting to get into the rap game, first off? Second off, being a white rapper, we know the stigma behind it.
Absolutely.
How do you feel that you separate yourself from that stigma? Because we all know that, it's always said that blacks created rap. But we got the Eminems, that's amazing, So how do you separate yourself from that stigma as well?
Oh, okay. Well, to answer your first part of the question, I think the second part is more valuable. But the first part, Biz Markie was the first rapper I heard. And, I heard Run DMC. I heard Beasties. Beasties and Rick Rubin, are heroes, of mine. There's a guy called Zevlov X, which was a group called KMD, which also got highly censored. If you guys don't know much about them, it's because they were censored, and they put out records, talking about oppression and the Jim Crow,
and they don't want that stuff out there.
And they didn't want that out there. And they had put a picture of Sambo, the guy Zevlov X had on the cover, and they tried to take it off the shelves, but they were really talking about the consciousness that needed to be talked about, but yet the powers that be, the money making machine, had to shut them down, and that's unfortunate. But so Zevlov X, which later became MF Doom, is one of my greatest inspirations. But he's been a later inspiration as opposed to some of those earlier guys. I can name thousands of I can make thousands of guys that inspire me, but those early guys, even even the Fresh Prince, people hate on Will Smith, but he was making Jazzy's dope as fuck. You can't take anything away from Jazzy Jeff, and the Rock the House record. I'll put that against any 50 Cent record today. Anyone,
God, don't get me started on him.
Who, 50?
Oh God, he's so annoying. He's more in the tabloids now than anything else. Just
I'll
harassing people online. You know what? I would love to see. You hear that, 50? I would love to see him get knocked.
That would be
so
interesting.
Annoying.
I'll put him up.
Because not to divert from what we were talking about, but you know how 50 always put it out there like he's so bad. I really wonder if 50 got hands.
He might, but look, check this out.
Well, he is lucky, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I challenged this guy called Disaster to a battle rap / MMA fight, where we would rap one round, fight one round, then go back and rap another round, and then fight again.
Oh my God!
Yes, and
with concussions and all.
Yeah,
that sounds...
and he was in that movie, the Bodied movie that Eminem just put out, right? And I talked to one of his managers, and his manager was like, "If the bag's right, we'll do it." Okay. But then nothing ever happened, right? And so, we obviously had the money to make it all happen, and the platform, and we could do it. We could do it today, and he's here in LA. But I challenged Eminem. I put out a diss record on Eminem, and I'm going to put one out on 50 Cent now and try to get him to fight me. But I think it's important because that element, if Tupac, look, I don't want to bring it there, but if Tupac and Biggie would have had an opportunity to box and squash it in front of the world, that might have saved a lot of people's lives.
I agree. That would have been an unfair fight between the two of them, but I agree. But
maybe, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Eminem is an amazing rapper, but I can't see him in the ring.
No.
I can't see him in the ring.
Probably not. But it's still something in Europe. They do a thing called chess boxing where they do that. They do absolutely that where they play a round of chess, but it's only 3 minutes, so you don't finish your game, and then you stand up, put the gloves on.
This is where?
In Europe. That's, if you're ever bored, look that up. That's one of the coolest sports I've ever seen. And
I gotta start putting ideas out there because they taking them all now.
I'll be perfectly honest though. I'll get in the ring with 50. I go to hands with 50.
Why not?
I mean, I wouldn't even get in the ring with Eminem. I think that would be unfair.
Yeah.
I think that would be unfair.
You don't think it's unfair with 50? He's been shot 9 times. He might be a little off, too, a little
that
hurt.
Don't mean he got hands.
No, meaning that he might be a little disabled, right?
Well, I mean,
that's what I meant.
He bought Mike Tyson's house.
That would be his loss. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I meant.
Let's get back to what separates you from that stigma.
Okay, yeah. So look, and that's one of the things on that record that's right there on the table. There's a song called "Eminem is a Gimmick," and I preface the song. I say, look, just because everybody compares me to Eminem, or because I'm a white rapper, I'm more than that. I'm a very, very conscious rapper. I talk about things that nobody will address, like the Jeffrey Epstein song that I just released on July 4th, just now. I talk about the government conspiracies, from alien activities to cover-ups to even Bill Cosby. Anything. I talk about very risky topics, but because I can, even though those guys are big and they have a platform, they can't talk about that because they have to cater to. Yeah,
they have an image too, and like
they're somewhat censored.
Exactly.
As we talked about earlier.
Absolutely, they are.
Where you wouldn't be.
And I think guys like Eminem and 50 Cent are also censored when it comes to production, and a lot of people don't think about that because this new trap style that's happening right now, if you don't make that, then you're not going to be relevant right now. And so that's a way of censoring. So 50 Cent has to rap on some garbage ass production right now.
Has he even released anything?
I don't know.
He done some what do they call it when you're on somebody's record? But he hasn't put anything out.
Features.
Yeah, he's done some features.
But I guess it comes down to money though, because I was watching an episode of Love and Hip Hop, and one of the guys on there. He was from an R&B group. I can't even remember his name. It was a rerun, and he had gotten paid, I think, $800,000 up front, which I guess sounds great. And it was over. I guess it was over like a 15-year thing, and he was maybe like 8 years in. All the money was gone, and he's like, I need to get out of this. I got somebody else that wants to sign me. They're like, no. Yeah. We need this many albums. And he was like, well, you guys won't release this one. And he was like, they were like, it's not the time yet.
Yeah.
So they won't even release an album. So I was just like, wow, like this is a real chess game here with them.
They'll, like I said on the previous podcast, I had a management company, and they will shelf artists, and good artists, shelf them for years before they put something out because, for various reasons. It could be that they say they feel like they're not ready right now. But it's really who's making them the most money right now. And they're going to put all their effort into whoever making them the most money, no matter how good this artist is. And that's the downside of going big versus putting out independent.
Yeah, Aftermath, incidentally, shelved Rakim, who's one of the greatest of all time. And they shelved him because they didn't think the temperature of the market was right for him. Rakim is very conscious, very pro the people, and they shelved that man. And then what happened? He gets on crack because he's sitting there like, "What? I don't have value. I don't have this." And so they're not cultivating these artists properly, in my opinion.
I agree.
In my opinion, and because they're shelved, they're censored. What he wanted to say was not heard.
You can't say it. 'Cause you kind of saw that with Kesha when she was trying to get out of a contract too, and they were all like trying to hush her, and she's like saying like sexual abuse and all this stuff, and she still really couldn't get out. They were like, you need to release just one more album. I was like, wow, like even with proof and everything, I was like, wow, this is like a pretty tight-knit contract then. And it's like, are there lawyers there helping people when they're signing these type of deals?
And they get that advance, and that's the money you were talking about before.
Yeah.
They get this huge advance, but they have to pay that back. And so they need to make that money. Okay, so here's
they gotta pay it all
here's
back.
$1 million. Here's $1 million advance. People are like, they're 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
Run it.
And the lawyers that they have sometimes work for the label.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So the label bring these lawyers in and say, okay, I'm gonna put this lawyer. I'm gonna put you with this amazing lawyer. He's gonna look out for you. But that lawyer's interest is with the label. So even though they're a lawyer for that person, supposedly they're working for the label. So they have these artists sign anything, and then like he was saying, these artists see these big events, and they're like, okay, I'm getting all this money. This money I ain't never seen. So they never really look into the contracts, and they don't realize that they're stuck into this for an extended amount of time, and they're really getting fucked from it.
Yeah.
Like Stevie Wonder didn't own his own name.
Yep.
And so when he would go play on other people's records, his friends' records, he had to go under a different name, El Toro, and because he's a Taurus. Yeah. And so
I love that.
If you ever see that name on a vinyl, that's Stevie Wonder, but he didn't own his name, so he can't even collect on that. That's crazy.
That's insane.
It is. I mean, it's. I think the music industry, the movie industry, it's a dog eat dog world, and people got to pay more attention to what they're signing. At the end of the day, if this lawyer is not your mom, your brother, your sister, don't trust them. Read it yourself. It's not hard. I know, these artists are out here, these actors are out here, and they just want to make it. So they're taking any opportunity they can to make it. But in the long run, if you're not reading what you're signing, you're really fucking yourself, because they can put anything on these contracts, and it doesn't take a long time to sit down and read a 5-page contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got to know what you're looking for. You got to, and that's the thing. And so I was blessed to have had come across that book when I was young, and it basically said, do not go with a record label. And so I never did, and I have all the power in the world. Like I said, I put out 6 records this year already.
And that's big, because you don't even have major artists putting out that many
sometimes not even their whole career.
Exactly.
And I mean, I'm in real deep because I can do it, and I've been doing it, but I have a lot to say. And so the most recent project that we put out, when I say we, it's Hip Hop Philosophy. That's my group. But so the Jess The Facts record that just came out is very political, and it talks on how guys like Jeff Bezos are using this pandemic as a corporate takeover in a sense.
Oh, of course.
And
I feel guilty for being on Amazon every other day. Jeez, I shouldn't even
the
admit
unfortunate
that.
part about that, though, is you can't really get away from it because Amazon is everything basically. And and don't get me wrong, I totally agree with you that he's using this as a corporate takeover, but you gotta applaud his
brilliance.
His brilliance. I mean, because it's kind of like you can't knock the man's hustle. Even though more people need to open their eye to his hustle, you can't knock his hustle because it is brilliant.
Yeah, but I'm just commenting, and I'm able to in my music. I'm able to make social commentary on what I see, and I think that's what NWA was doing. I think I think Ice Cube was a great writer. He was commenting on what he was seeing. He didn't really live it. Like, we know Ice Cube didn't really live it. We know that about him, but he was seeing it. And so he was watching it, and he was able to sit there and make sense of it and make music out of it, and it was beautiful.
Guess if you're living it, you're probably dead or in prison. So somebody's got to be the spectator.
Well, I do want to highlight some of the content in your music. So let's kind of hit on the Jeffrey Epstein thing. Talk about it a little bit in depth and get your viewpoint on it and why you decided to use, say, Jeffrey Epstein as content in your song.
Well, okay, so I had found this old record, and it had a sample of this guy saying, singing. I can't sing, but that's why I rap. But he's singing, "Take them all away," and he's talking about, and so I was like, who do we want to take away? Oh, the pedophiles, right? And so I kind of constructed it, and then I dug deeper into that Epstein, rabbit hole that's there. And I was like, oh, this is bigger than, no wonder people are getting killed. No wonder people are getting killed because there's a lot of big money people that are involved in that.
Huge.
Yes.
And what did Jeffrey Epstein really sell? You can't say that he got rich off of selling motor oil or any product like this. You're like, okay, so he's broke, and then all of a sudden he's rich. What's he selling? Well, he's selling underage pussy, really. But that's kind of, that's how that song came about. But it's necessary because we're watching the government kill people to cover up pedophilia. That's mind-boggling.
I mean, I would agree because I guess I kind of related to the whole COVID thing. We can put trillions of dollars into COVID, but why are we not putting that same effort into child trafficking?
Exactly.
Because everybody's in it.
Exactly. Why are we not putting that same effort into starvation? I mean, you got 8,000 kids die every day from starvation, and no one is talking about that. So why is it that we're putting so much attention and so much money into? Yeah, people are dying from COVID, but why are we putting so much money, so much attention into COVID when you got people dying by the millions from other things that we're not putting any effort into?
Well, it's fear mongering. And it is that corporate takeover. It is, hey, this is, all magicians are going to say, look at this hand. Well, some other stuff's going back here. And so that's what COVID is. COVID's like, okay, you guys got to hide. You guys got to hide in your house while we monitor you and monitor your spending habits.
I don't agree with this, but I'm going to finish. But now everything you do on your phone is being monitored, and they know how to cater to you. They know how to cater ads to you. Why did they need COVID to monitor us? They were already doing that.
Well, now they're keeping us inside. Now there's a whole lot of other reasons why they're talking about that to keep us in the house.
Yeah, I've heard a few of them. 5G and this and that, which I still don't. They don't need everybody in the house to put up 5G.
Yeah, but if
they can do that
regardless. If you think about this aspect, you take your family. Let's say my family of 3. My wife, my kid is at school, my wife is at work. I'm wherever I'm at, so we're separated. But if we're all in one spot, they can monitor us a lot easier because we're all in a condensed area, so they can hear everything we're talking about, everything that's going on with us in a condensed area.
I get that to a certain extent, but there are cameras everywhere on the street. We have iPhones, we have GPS in our cars, we have smartphone watches, and they're monitoring us regardless. We have credit cards. We're walking into Marshall's. We're in Whole Foods. They're right there on the street light outside. There we go. Hi, you can update it on. They can watch us regardless.
As he said, I don't think COVID is strictly to monitor us, but COVID is that hand. Look over here while they doing whatever they doing on the back end. So I don't think COVID is to monitor us, but that is an aspect of that hand over here.
Oh yeah, they've been planning this for a long time, and that's what Fauci got in trouble for saying something recently. Yeah. You know,
yeah.
They've been planning this. This is not, and they're wasting.
I'm not saying that this wasn't like scientists don't purposely like create stuff and do stuff like that, but I'm saying like the way it got out or the way it got out in China, I don't think it was like planned to get out all over in the world. But I think, did they make this? And, they were trying to figure out how to like maybe do something else. Sure. But to the extent, I don't think everything is a conspiracy theory too. And I think that this is an issue we have in our society because there's such mistrust with the government, which there's good reason for it. So everything's a conspiracy. And some things just are what they are. And everything is not this deep fucking, thing that I need to spiral down. Some things are not 100% black and white, but they're not as far as people are taking it. Now, I know there's shady shit that happens at 100% with the government and all that stuff, but I think a lot of the stuff that I've been hearing is such a reach. This stuff is happening all over the world. I have friends in Colombia and India, like that are dying, that can't get vaccines, that are like burning bodies in the street and like all kind. Well, those are third world countries. They would their governments don't even care about them. So that's the start.
Our government doesn't care about us. Our government killed Martin Luther King.
Yes, true. But there's face value more here than there is in other countries. There's not even. If you go to Haiti,
they let you think just we have value.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Face value. They show. That's why. Oh yeah, you guys get the vaccine first, or you guys get this. Other countries they don't even do that. It doesn't. They're up front. They're like, nah, bitch, start. Everybody's kind of
Australia refused to take the vaccine.
But you do understand in 1996, the meeting that took place between 190 world powers that took place in 1996, which was a population control meeting, basically. And people always say, so how did this happen across the entire world? Because when the entire world sit together in 1996 and plan this out, it's going to happen across the entire world. So what I'm saying is, again, is there a virus out here killing people? Of course. But was it man-made? Yes, it was.
Absolutely. That's why they arrested that guy from Harvard.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that.
Was it made and put out and populated across the world so that they have whatever alternative plan they have, which I can't sit here and even act like I know what that plan is exactly. But it's not COVID, which is what the plan is. Now, people keep saying, conspiracy theory. Just because it's a theory doesn't make it a conspiracy, right? The conspiracy in itself could be what they're doing, So we can't title everything that we don't agree with as a conspiracy theory. It's just a theory. And until it's proven to be a conspiracy, it's just a theory.
Well, we got to always look at where the money is, where the power is, and where it's going. And I told my 10-year-old son, I said, what do you think about COVID? And he said, well, you know what? I think that whoever invented Zoom created COVID. And I thought about it for a second, and I was like, he sees this because he's on Zoom now every day. He sees this and says, okay, these guys are benefiting. Right. And so who's benefiting? That's my question.
Even him just saying that, I'm sorry. A lot of these like theories or whatever, we call them whatever you want, they do come from, honestly, people that I don't consider that educated in certain parts of the world. And it just baffles me. Like now with social media, it makes it even worse. Everything just kind of goes viral. And it's the government's fault, though.
What they want goes viral.
Well, true. Yes and no, because that was more of the case before social media came around. Yes, they will shut a series down, right? But it still will get out there for a second. But they'll shut it the fuck down, and at least certain people will know about it. But I just think, like, I don't know. Everybody kind of goes on these tangents all the time, and but there's no, like, everybody's like, this is what they're doing back here. It's like, what are they doing then? You know what I mean? Like, you got fake people pretending to be the CIA on YouTube. This thing has 1 million views. I see somebody sitting on fucking YouTube. He's like, hey guys, I work with the CIA. This is top secret. Those tents in Central Park, they are not tents for COVID where they're, checking people. There's actually kids that are underground that I guess this is a part of Pizzagate with the Clintons. There's kids underground, and they have to keep the tents there because they have to have oxygen tanks on the top to give the kids that because they're passing out. They're not used to. This is there are millions of views,
people out there too.
but this is what I mean. And sometimes I'm like, come on, man. And then
I agree.
Well, you gotta
that's what I'm.
You gotta question everything. You gotta question everything.
There are some idiotic stories out there, but at the same time, we cannot ignore things that can definitely have some merit.
Yeah. Oh, true. Very true.
But you do have the crazies out there that's just gonna come up with all type of crazy stuff. I think my biggest concern with the whole COVID thing is the lack of common sense that has come about since COVID and the hypocrisy behind COVID. I can't grasp how we're, you see 500,000 people die in the United States, and then TB kills 1.5 million a year, and we're not saying anything about it. Hep C kills 1.34 million a year. We're not saying anything about it. In 2019, the CDC came out and said hep was the #1 disease killing Americans in the United States.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, it's the only disease that has increased year after year since 2000, up 22% since 2000, right? The only infectious disease that has increased year after year for the last 20 years, but it decreased in 2019. Why is that?
What was it? Hepatitis?
Hep C.
But we have that's the thing that you could get shots for, right?
No, you can get.
Is it hepatitis?
You can get tested for TB.
Yeah.
So you get tested for TB. Hep had a treatment, but it doesn't have a vaccine or nothing. But even with a treatment, 1.34 million still dying from it. So this is my thing.
Well, they got a cure. There's just no money. There's no money in the cure.
1.34 million is still dying from it. Then how did that number decrease? It's been increasing for the last 20 years. How did it decrease in 2019? It's been increasing consistently for the last 20 years. Redistribution of death. The Surgeon General of Illinois came out on TV and said, we know people are dying from other things, but if they tested positive for COVID, we attribute it to a COVID death.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen that lady anymore. They completely got her off TV, fired her and everything. Why is that? She's the Surgeon General for Illinois. That's the top doctor for Illinois. Came out and said that on national TV, and now you don't see anything about it. They fired her because she came out and said that on national TV. All I'm saying is we got to use common sense behind this. When do we get to a point where we say we got an oversight committee for everything in this country, for every single thing? Why is there no oversight committee for COVID numbers? They put out 500,000, 600,000. Everybody just say, okay, that's what died from. How do we know that?
Exactly. And I know for a fact, and I won't tell you exactly how I know this because I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but I know for a fact that hospitals get a certain amount of.
I know that too.
They get,
for a fact.
Yeah, that they get a certain amount of money for saying,
20%.
hey, yes, this was a COVID-related death. And I also know for a fact that somebody who had a child that had a gunshot and died from a gunshot wrote it was COVID and then got that COVID money.
I agree.
So, and that's happening all the time.
I can confirm
to bump those numbers.
That hospitals get a 20% increase for every COVID patient that they have. Not just COVID death, but COVID patients that they have in their hospital. They get 20% extra.
And hospitals, big business.
Incentivizing them to.
But they incentivize hospitals for a lot of shit. Just because that's happening, and which shady shit happens everywhere and in hospitals and government, doesn't mean it's not real and it's still not killing people. You know what I mean?
No.
We got a lot of doctors are shitty. A lot of people get fucked. A lot of them write all kinds of shit. And I'm glad. One thing I am happy about is that this thing made people realize that, oh, sometimes this is happening. People are getting 20% extra to put this on there or whatever the case may be. But that shit has been happening. You know, there's always some money scheme, like we were just talking about in the music industry. Doesn't matter what industry it is, there's a money scheme.
Definitely.
But the thing that bothers me is that some people are acting like COVID isn't real at all. And that's what's fucking annoying.
No, I'm not saying it's not.
No,
It's real.
but no, not y'all, not you guys. But you know what I mean? Like, all these things are valid. And I'm glad it's brought to
No,
the
I think
forefront.
anyone
But
that says COVID isn't real is stupid because it's obvious that it's a real disease. But people gotta understand it's a coronavirus. Coronavirus has been around since the
H1N1.
Since
It's
a long time,
Common
yeah.
cold is the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So it's just a different form of a coronavirus. So does it exist? Yes. It's just a different strain of
A different
coronavirus.
strain, yeah.
Is it killing people in the manner or in the large number that they say it is? That's what I disagree with.
I don't think so either.
That's what I refute because I just don't see that possible. They had to make people feel that it's worse than the flu. Because if you just came out and said, look, we got another strain of the flu, people gonna like, well, the flu been around for nobody care. But if I want to sell somebody, if it's wintertime and I'm in Chicago and I want to sell somebody snow, even though it's snow fall on the ground, I'm going to say my snow is the best snow ever to convince them that my snow needs to be sold to them. They can't just come out with a new disease and say, hey, this disease is killing just like everything else, but y'all got to stay in your house. No, it ain't going to work. They had to fear monger. They had to hype it up. They had to make it. If this disease is that bad, why do you have to see it on TV every 5 minutes?
Yeah.
It would be known that it's that bad.
And then every 5 minutes is a vaccine. Go get your vaccine commercial.
But do you think it's, fearmonger? I guess it's on a spectrum, right? But do you think it's worse now because of social media?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's just a lot. So maybe back in the day, people are like, it wasn't that bad, but it's kind of like maybe it just seems like so much because we've got 100 million channels.
Exactly.
We've got our phones. We've got, you know what I mean? And people are posting. They're like, you know what I mean?
People are watching the news like they want to. The news is social media.
Yeah. So I think it's
very
even
contrived.
people are always like, oh, fear and all this stuff. Like, and I'm just like, they've always tried to scare people into stuff. It's just, it's on another level now because of social media.
Well,
like,
I guess
everybody's a Newcastle.
You see it.
Why are we not questioning it? In the masses is my thing.
Oh.
Yes, there are people that's questioning it, but in the masses, why are we so okay just saying, okay, we're just going to accept what you all are saying and leave it at that?
Because they got us on a hamster wheel. That's how this is built. The rich 1% has us on a hamster wheel. You got to get up, go to work 9 to 5, and then you're too tired to revolt.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what the album I just did is called Re-Evolutionary Science. So we need to revolt and re-evolve as humans. We need to revolt against those powers that be that are controlling our social media, what we see. They are controlling what we see on the CNN to Fox to all these ones. They're commercials. Those are commercials. Those news casting, because you can pay. I've done it through one of the companies I worked at. We've bought stories on our product.
Yeah.
It's done. It can be done.
So how do you, if you want people to, speak up more, I feel like you kind of have to guide people and kind of tell them how they can, stand up to the government, how they can do it in a productive way, too.
Because one of my taglines that I always use is always a lion, never a sheep. We do in this, not just in this country, but in this world, there are a lot of sheep that just kind of follow. They'd rather be told instead of doing the research to find out themselves, because it's much easier for you just to be told something and believe it versus you finding out for yourself. So how do we get the masses? And for me, I'm not saying that I'm trying to start any type of revolution or nothing like that.
I am.
For me, it's about how do we get the masses to at least question it, to at least wonder why this is what it is.
Well, and that's why I'm doing. Through my medium, through my music, I'm doing it. I'm doing my part. I did a song called "The Revolution Will Be Televised," which is in homage to Gil Scott-Heron, which is one of the greatest writers I've met twice before he died. And then I have another song about it's called Steve Biko, which Steve Biko was a revolutionary in Africa. and a lot of people don't know about him. We were talking about Denzel earlier today, and Denzel played him. That was one of his first roles in a movie. But Steve Biko, who was also shout out, I can't say that because Tribe Called Quest also shouted him out back in the 90s. But Steve Biko was a revolutionist, very intelligent, and brought real revolution in Africa. And a lot of Americans don't know who he is, but I do, and so I'm trying to enlighten them. I'm trying to enlighten them about guys like Langston Hughes and Gandhi and JFK and guys who are important like Muhammad Ali, who was a revolutionist.
Musical history teacher.
Yeah, those guys are important. Malcolm, all those guys are important. But guess what? When you talk about the sheep don't get killed. It's the wolves that get killed, the lions that get killed, the leaders.
Well, can I just say something really quick too? Because I'm really, when you're with your statement like the always a lion, never a sheep too. It just made me think of like, we're right now living in like, I call it like the age of information.
Mm-hmm. Too much.
And a lot of people can put bullshit up there. Yeah. So we got a lot of lions too, just going and they're just pulling shit that makes no sense too. So it's like there's that problem too. You know what I mean? Like
misinformation.
Yeah,
and that's
misinformation.
What most of it is.
Because
I feel the people that's pulling stuff without doing proper research, they're not really lying. They're sheep.
I think they are. So give them some advice.
They're sheep is lying clothes. You don't put anything on the internet or anywhere, or even sit here on a podcast and talk about anything that you haven't done adequate research.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of me sitting, and that's why I'm saying I don't know what the alternative plan is behind this, but I've done a lot of research to know that a lot of this is bullshit.
It's super fishy.
So that's my thing. I just want people to ask why. I'm not telling people what this is about or what it's not about, but ask why. Why are the masses not asking why? Why is this? Why are no one validating these numbers? Why is no one checking to see, what's really in the vaccine? You can talk to a billion people and they'll tell you, get the vaccine. Well, vaccine's been saving lives forever. Look at polio and look at the measles and look at all that. And I always ask, what's in the vaccine? I don't know. So
can I tell
no
you
idea what's in the vaccine, but you're saying it's saving people.
Yeah, can I tell you a story? So my cousin got the vaccine, right? And he's in Hawaii, and he still got COVID. And he might die from it. He's young. He's 35.
It's not 100% though either.
No, I didn't.
So it's like birth control. Like I can be taking the pill,
but
and I can still have a baby. It's not. Nothing. None of the science isn't 100% either. You know what I mean? So we can't.
But we're deaf not 100% either.
Yeah. Well, sure, but the same with the flu and a lot of other things. Like I got vaccinated, right? I still haven't caught COVID, but my grandmother got COVID and died. My dad got COVID and almost died. He got really sick. And then I knew other people that didn't really get that sick. I got vaccinated when I was a kid, but I haven't really gotten vaccinated like the flu and all that other stuff. But my sister, who is a nurse, she occasionally does that, and because she works around kids, that's her choice. I feel like it is your choice. I
agree.
They're gonna push propaganda too of stuff. That's what marketing, especially when they have the product here and it goes bad and other countries can't even fucking get it. They're like, hey, motherfuckers, take this shit. But we're so spoiled here. It's not like in Israel where they're like, line up, bitch. You got to get this shit or else. They have to do stuff a different way because we're fucking supposedly in a free world and we have free choice. You know what I mean? So it's a little...
Exactly. And that's my thing. I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any means. I'm not against vaccination. I'm against vaccination for me. So if someone else wants to get a vaccination, I would never try to talk another person out of getting a vaccination. That's your choice. My concern is taking that choice away by saying you need to get the vaccine.
Yeah, which is not going to happen.
And some employers are requiring it.
But airplanes already, if you want to go to Africa, you have to get certain vaccines or you can't get there.
That's true.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You still got to go to the doctor or you're not getting in Ethiopia. It's just, I was telling somebody that's already the case, and I know a lot of people. They're like, I want to go to Israel, and they don't want to get vaccinated. I'm like, they're forcing it over there. You don't get a choice. You just don't.
I guess you have a choice as if like say Africa or Ethiopia, and you want to go to one of these countries, and you have to get immunities, immunization, should I say?
Yeah.
Then it's your choice as you whether or not you go to
go.
The country.
Yeah,
but to
don't
sit
go
in your country and say you got to get this vaccine, or you're not going to be able to go to a restaurant. You can't go to certain games. That's taking people's choice away. Why are they pushing it? If I don't want to get the vaccine, I shouldn't have to get the vaccine. That should be my choice. Now, this is when I talk about hypocrisy behind this thing. You got so many Democrats, and right, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I consider myself to be a moderate liberal. Or a person that's common sense values. You got all these Democrats that say, I'm pro-choice, I'm pro-choice, I'm pro-choice. When did pro-choice become pick and choose of what you're pro-choice about? If I can sit here and say I'm pro-choice and I feel that a woman should have the right to get an abortion, then why should I have the right to not get a vaccine if I don't want to? Pro-choice is pro-choice. That means you're open to
who's forcing you to get the vaccine is what I'm confused about.
The thing is it's certain.
Have you been almost...
Let me ask you.
Okay.
Are they mandating the vaccine by the word mandate? No. But are they mandating the vaccine by saying you can't go here, you can't go there, you can't do this? And these are normal things that I've
that's
always
traveling
done.
outside of the country. Where can you not go?
So, like, say for instance, a Dodgers game.
Yeah.
You go to a Dodgers game. You got a section where you get all these perks for being vaccinated. You can sit in this section, but if you're not vaccinated, you can't sit in that section.
You're still at the game?
Yeah, but those perks that I was able to sit in that section before coronavirus, why can't I sit in that section now?
Because there's a pandemic going on, and they're worried about people's lives. So that's what they're. That's what you think. But that's not what they're liable as the stadium is liable. And so if somebody comes at them with something, companies have to look out for themselves too. I'm not having nobody come in here and sue me. I'm sorry. I'm like, yo, man, can you please wear a mask in here? Because I'm not gonna have somebody come in or something happen. It's just not. To me, it's just not.
Contractually, they're not liable. You go to 24-hour fitness. If you go on 24-hour fitness, you get hurt, you break your leg. They're not responsible for that all because when you sign that
you sign in, yeah.
You sign that contract says we're not liable for nothing. You come in and catch AIDS off our bars and nothing happens to you to us. So
depends on if it's in the contract, right?
So stadium, they can have a thing.
A waiver.
Sign in and say a waiver and say.
Well, maybe it's gonna get to that point. We're in the beginning, y'all gotta just wait to see what happens. The mask mandate came on because when something's a world pandemic, this is not a U.S. thing; it's a world pandemic. I think I'm gonna play devil's advocate because I get the side you're on, but you gotta look at things from other people's side too, other companies, minus the government. People have to people are gonna move a certain way, and I get it. Things will change and loosen up. It already has, and maybe it'll get worse for a second. Who fucking knows? I'm not gonna predict stuff, but I think I get where some of the companies are coming from, and it's ridiculous that a lot of these people were coming at people in establishments for having a mask on. Here's a person that's getting minimum wage, and I don't fucking need this shit. Fuck this. They're like, bitch, I don't get paid enough for this. They're like, I'm just doing my job. The company says we need to do this. This is it. You know what I mean? It's all these theatrics, and it's we're so entitled here, and it's such an individualistic society here. Nobody gives a fuck about the person to the left or the right of them. It's in such an individualistic society. That's why you see in other places that didn't get the vaccine. A lot of them, COVID stuff has went down if they follow the rules, but we can't follow rules here. So they have to do marketing and gimmicks and push propaganda too. They do that to do shady shit, but they also have to do it to get us to do other shit that they're trying to help us out with. The government is horrible, and then sometimes it's not. Everything isn't always fucking bad. You know what I mean? Just like I don't think everything's a huge fucking, conspiracy all the time either, but I digress.
If we look at it, Sweden didn't do any lockdowns. And they got the lowest number of supposed cases in the world. Didn't do not one lockdown. Yeah. Now, what our government did...
And they cared about their neighbors over there.
What our government did is they put out that per sweetness numbers, their ratio is higher than ours. They still have less cases than us, regardless. They still have less cases, and they didn't do not one lockdown. How is that possible if this is so dangerous? I just, the whole idea of this being a pandemic is what bothers me. You know what's a pandemic? 8,000 kids dying every day from starvation. You know what's a pandemic? Thousands upon thousands of children being sex trafficked.
Aren't people fighting for that too, though?
Okay, you said aren't people? No,
yes,
hold on.
There's people fighting for all these cases. One thing doesn't take away from another.
You said aren't people fighting for
yes.
The fact that you got to say aren't people meaning you're asking.
No, I'm not. No. It was a rhetorical. No. That was a rhetorical question. I was making a statement that it was basically like saying common sense tells me that just because I'm in the streets marching for breast cancer doesn't mean people aren't fighting for prostate cancer on the other side. People can have multiple things that they're into. Yes, certain things take over the news more. That doesn't mean that there's not all these other people. I follow a ton of accounts that fight for sex trafficking. I donate to them. I write things to the children that they have in there. There's a lot of things that, even though it's not always out there, that people are doing, and I see it because I'm a part of it, because I'm really involved in philanthropy, and I try to do that multiple times a year.
Is there focus being put on them? Of course, there's focus being put on it. Is the focus that COVID has on it being put on any of them? Not even close. Yeah. Tell me one of them.
Maybe not media-wise.
Tell me any of them where we spent $14 trillion on
made adjusted laws and bills and
adjusted laws or when AIDS came out, it was a pandemic. They didn't even mandate condoms, but they can mandate you stay in your house for a pandemic, a supposed pandemic. So it doesn't make sense. When TB came out, it killed millions upon millions of people, but they didn't say you can't get tattoos, you can't have a baby, you can't do blood transfusions, all the things that cause TB. They didn't stop none of that. When HEP came out, they didn't stop nothing that causes HEP. Nothing.
When's the last time they stopped something? Wasn't it the 1918? Yeah, when there was another, but obviously, what was that? The Spanish flu, I'm forgetting. Yeah, so that happened then, and then I know I have a friend that grew up in Hong Kong. I know there was a huge pandemic there at one point. She remembers her whole senior year having to wear masks. So I mean, shit happens in places, and do people sometimes overreact to? And absolutely. I mean, even people were but when you look at history, people always overreact to, like everybody was like, oh my God, why the fuck is everything clear on the stores? But when I'm a history buff, people always act fucking ridiculous when shit like this is happening. And I think it just seems even more intense because, like I said, social media now, we're just seeing it. We're living it and breathing it. I know people are exhausted with it. I'm exhausted with it. I'm sure everybody is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is.
But let me ask you this. What do you know about Huey Newton and heroin?
Huey Newton, is that the big guy?
Black Panther.
Yeah, Huey Newton was definitely a lion.
Yeah,
definitely a leader. Definitely a revolutionist.
Definitely.
Now, what did the government do? This is all documented, but the government made sure that heroin was infiltrated into the Black Panther Party to disband it. That is
I believe that.
Documented fact. And it's to control people, whatever it is, whatever
get that.
ailment it is, whether it's COVID or whether it's heroin or whatever, it's going to be
a lot of I mean, when it comes to minority communities especially, that's not shocking that there's a black power group growing and they try to infiltrate somebody in it to take it down. I mean, that's been I already know, but I know the government shit. I'm not even for a second saying it's not. I was watching this documentary called Devil Next Door on Netflix. And I was watching it with this my ex-boyfriend, and who's Jewish, and he was so shocked by this documentary because he wasn't aware that the United States let so many Nazis in and so many of the killers that were at the concert. He was like, what the fuck? Like, the whole story is about this man that they kept, one of the men that they kept hidden and gave a new name to. He was working at Ford and doing all this. And he had a whole trial put on him. It was an insane story. He even got brought to Israel to get trialed. And he was just like, why would the U.S. do this? Because he's a little bit naive. And I'm just like, I think people are shady in general. I think people get power and they are disgusting. Even me, I have to check myself sometimes when I get a little power. I'm like, who the fuck are you?
And that's what we have to revolt against.
Yeah.
You know, when guys like, when Rothschilds and Rockefellers own 87% of the world's wealth.
It's insane.
Right now. They are going to do whatever it takes in order to what? Keep that.
It. Exactly. That's even like when you think of like The Crown, like the in England. Like, have you guys watched the series? I watch like old stuff about, Europe. Like, I go back to the 1400s, 1500s, like the beginning Tudor era. But I didn't know too much about the current, and The Crown goes into depth about what they do to keep their power and what they do to each other to keep their power, and some of the stories, I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, there's no such thing as blue blood, for one. What the fuck are you guys still doing here?
It's definitely not a United States thing. It's a world.
Yeah.
And that's what they say. That's what they said, because they funded, the Rothschilds funded World War II. And so there's a saying, they say, when is World War III going to be? And they say, whenever the Rothschilds figure they want to have it, And who's in charge? Who's making the money? And that's where you'll find the trail of blood. You'll find the trail of blood right there. But we kind of beat that topic. We kind of beat the conspiracy. Yeah. Fuck the government. Fuck the government for real. And if you
ItsMii is not promoting fuck the government, but
I am.
But we do. From my perspective, I will say that there is, and again, all this boils back to me for me is just why we not asking the government why. There are some answers that our government, and every government in this world, needs to give their citizens. Yeah. And that's my thing, just why. But to kind of segue a little bit, I want to ask about something, and this is kind of off topic. What do we think about, and this is an old subject, but it's a subject that I think has kind of died and needs to be relived. What do we think about kneeling or turning our back when the national anthem plays against the flag?
Oh, that's current. That's current right now. But if you're not proud of your government, if you're not proud of your country, vocalize it. And she did. That was her way of doing it. That's the way Kaepernick decided to do it.
Yeah.
Let them. It's a free speech. If that's real, if free speech is real,
I agree. Free speech is real. I agree.
No one, when Kaepernick took a knee, or when the young lady took turned her back on the flag, no one is saying, I hate my country. What they're saying is, I don't agree with. I hate the inefficiency in our country. I hate the inequalities in our country. They're not saying, like the Republicans always come and say, well, they're saying they hate the country. If you hate the country, leave the country. No, we're not saying we hate the country. We're saying fix the inequalities in this country. We're trying to bring light to the issues of this country, because every country has issues.
And that's a good thing. Kaepernick made a lot of people aware of certain situations, and which should be obvious. Exactly. What he was making people aware, but he did make people who were unaware aware, which is important.
Even if they didn't want to be.
And that's what she's going to do. Yeah. That's what she's going to do too. She's going to make people say, "Oh, what? There's dissension in our nation, our perfect nation." Yes, there is.
The funniest thing for me about the whole kneeling part is, this is my thing. When you pray, what do you do? When you propose to your wife, what do you do? When did kneeling become disrespectful? How would they so easy? It was so easy to flip kneeling into being something that's disrespectful when it's respectful in every other aspect. I was a Marine. When a fallen soldier goes down, we kneel to respect that soldier. That is why I think it was a Green Beret that talked to Kaepernick and told him to kneel instead of sitting. That's why he told him that, because that is a sign of respect. So what Kaepernick did, he was showing a sign of respect to bring acknowledgement to the issues that's going on in our country.
And that issue was really kept out of it. Police brutality, and
this is my thing with the police. I don't hate the police. In fact, I tried to become a police when I first got out of the Marine Corps. So I'm not a cop hater by any means. But we can't keep saying bad apples. We can't keep saying it's just a few bad apples. It's a few bad apples. If you don't get them off the force and you allow this to keep happening, then you're that bad apple as well.
Yeah.
So we gotta stop
aiding and abetting.
Exactly. We gotta start turning a blind eye to these bad apples and actually get them off. Because I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I got a lot of homeboys that's police officers. It's some police officers that get on the force because they were punks in school. And they want they want that strength behind the badge. Those are not people that should be on the police force.
No, and they don't require they don't require enough. I mean, people are coming right out of high school with a high school education, and our America's education system is awful.
And in certain countries, you got to have a bachelor's to be a police officer. Here, you don't.
No, you just walk out of high school, you barely graduate, and you can go and carry a gun.
Well, I also think they should make it that police officers or anybody that's in a field like that, they should have to go to therapy monthly, period. It should, because when you are using your weapons and you are dealing with specific, if I'm a white cop and I'm in a black neighborhood all the time, and of course, if you're in a black neighborhood, you're going to see black crime, but that can skew your vision of those people. So you probably need to have somebody to help analyze that. Analyze that and make sure you don't get jaded and make sure. And then if they think you need some time off, we need people that can't be paid off. We have a lot of jobs that are so protected that you can't say anything bad to them. It's even like you talking about the kneeling stuff. The problem with all that stuff is the United States has such big country pride. You even see it state pride, that there's no room for criticism when you have that level of pride. It's arrogance and it's ego, and we're perfect. Yes, we are far along the curve than other places, but that doesn't mean there's not room to grow. And if we think that, that's why we're not gonna stay on top too. Eventually, exactly. I mean, statistically, nobody stays on top forever. A long time ago, this place was in charge. Yeah, every place falls, and this is why they fall, because they get arrogant. They've been on top for too long, too much money, too much power, and then other people are doing their other shit secretly on the side. So should be interesting to see where the world is when we come back. I believe in reincarnation.
At the end of the day, where the dollar has been losing value for a long time, and that's because other countries are getting tired of our arrogance. I don't think that America is the superpower that it used to be. I think China and Russia are on the same level with us as far as superpower goes.
Yeah, and they're producing products. We're consumers. America, and
just bought from China.
Yeah, even our tech is being outsourced now, and that's all we really were clinging on to.
Yeah,
we're consumers. We're a consumer society, and that's why they care about where we're spending our money.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's why they're monitoring where we're spending our money, so that they can cater us to get us to spend more and more.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think some of the topics that we're hitting on are topics that some podcasts or some even major news agencies try to shy away from.
Oh yeah, we might get censored here on this.
Exactly.
It's me.
Exactly.
Well, let's segue to something a little bit more naughtier.
Okay.
Oh yeah. This is a taboo podcast.
So Little Birdie has told me that you've made your first sex tape, with a Salma Hayek lookalike, and I want to. We want to hear a little bit about this, like why the Salma Hayek lookalike. Okay.
So my degree is in audio and video production. And I love making videos, music videos. But so what I did was I was thinking, look, I can make a music video that has to do with me having sex with this chick. And so what I did was I shot the porn, then I made the beat, and then I wrote the lyrics So the porn is already manifested. And so then I wrote, and the beat is there. And so I wrote the lyrics to go play by play with the porn, with the actual what was going on in the scenes. And so it's a one of a kind. Nobody's done this.
This is so different from what you normally do. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm a little like.
And also, people gonna come out and say, "Man, he just did this shit to get his rocks off."
Yeah,
Well,
he wanted to show us his dick.
relax.
For what I wanted to do was revolutionize the porn industry, because now what I did was I took my craft, which is writing lyrics and making music, and then added it to what's very personal to me, which is
Your body.
Hold on. How did personal to you? You put it on video.
I haven't released it yet, and I will not release it except for on ItsMii. That's it.
You heard that, folks. Yeah.
I love the exclusive.
Yeah.
But still, if it's personal, it's via the platform. You're still releasing it on a platform.
Right, but it's still art. It's still art, and there's still nudity. Nudity is art,
Very true.
The most beautiful thing on planet Earth is the female body,
I would totally agree.
in my opinion.
Totally agree.
And so I have a beautiful girl who looks just like Salma Hayek, who's one of my favorite people to look at.
So why you just get Selma?
I wish I could. Maybe I'll get it. Maybe I'll get a shot now. Maybe I'll get a swing of that now. She might.
Tell me if you're listening. He here for you.
Yeah, I even say her name in the song. But yeah, so when I'm doing what I do, I'm saying it. So it's a play by play. I'm rapping to the porn. Nobody's seen it.
I'm trying to visualize this. So are you saying you actually in her and you grooving and you rapping while you hitting it?
No, I'm not rapping while I'm hitting, but the lyrics are basically a monologue or a biography of what's happening right there.
Okay.
And so because I say a line where she likes to be strangled and hit from all angles like Vasily Lomachenko, I'm actually doing that. Hit from all angles like Vasily Lomachenko.
Oh my God.
And there's a cool part where I say I'll twist her nipples and switch from black and white, and so it was a black and white scene, and so when I twist her nipples, it then goes to color.
Wow.
So and that's what, and I used a sample where it's talking about Technicolor dreams and stuff like that. But anyways, when it comes out, it will only come out on ItsMii, and it'll be my only porn that I ever shoot, most likely, unless the real Salma, unless the real Salma comes through, or Jessica Alba comes through.
Yeah, somebody big.
Or Veronica Rodriguez comes
But
through.
let's make this a little fun. Why don't we set a number of subscribers that you need to get on ItsMii for you to release it? Why don't we?
That's fair. I'm with that.
Put a number out there. What would you need to hit for you to release this?
Man, what's realistic, or what would I see? Because realistic, how many people really want to see me get down? Maybe.
Can you do clips then the whole video? We can make it fun,
I think with the concept, I think a lot of people will want to see that concept, because as you said,
nobody's done it. Nobody's done it.
So,
not even Snoop, and not even Snoop, and he tried that.
That's hard to say that Snoop ain't done some shit like that. But that's an interesting concept. So once that concept get out there, I think a lot of people are going to want to see it.
There'll be a ton of copycats too.
So
after.
give us a number.
Yeah.
You can even start. That may even start like a new challenge. That may go viral as a new challenge.
Yeah.
The Selma Hayek challenge.
Yeah, hey, why not? But yeah, okay. So let's say we get 50,000 subscribers.
50,000 subscribers.
That's a realistic number.
Very realistic.
I'm not gonna say 1 million because who am I?
No, we'll just get you to do another tape for that.
But
Time you a little bit. If you get 1 million.
I'll do another one. I want to do. I made a song. I did a whole album based geared towards women and the beautiful goddessness that women are, and it's called Sci-Fi Octopussy. And
oh my God!
Because my logo is an octopus. But anyways, but so the grandeur that women are. But on that one, I do a song called My Favorite Porn Stars. Okay. And so I mention these women and how intelligent they are, how much hustlers they are, how hard they work, the work ethics that they put in, and I pay homage to them, and Veronica Rodriguez is one of my favorites, And so, and she's reposted some of my stuff though. So
there's a chance here then.
There might be a chance.
Okay.
We may have another video coming.
Yeah.
Look, and she knows what she's doing, and I'm Italian, and I'll put it down. Let's
put this out there now then. V-Rod.
Team V-Rod, let's go.
A million subscribers.
Yeah.
V-Rod, would you be down if he hits 1 million subscribers? Come on, man. It's me. We need you to sign up.
Well, check this out. If we do that, I will write a play-by-play. We'll shoot the porn. We'll do. I'll make the beat behind it, and I'll do a play-by-play just like how
she makes soundtracks.
I know
too.
she does.
Okay, because I remember she was doing that with a company that I was with. So this might be a match made in musical porn heaven.
I know. I reached out to her to try to do that, but and my Twitter got shut down. So I used to share her shit on Twitter. I used to share her posts, and I got flagged for content, and so Jack Dorsey shut my shit down, right? Okay. And I even put that in the song. I call out Jack Dorsey, who's the one of the creators of Twitter.
Well, you're definitely not ashamed calling anybody out, huh?
No, I called out. Look, man, I called out from everybody. I'm not afraid to say how I feel.
Yeah, but you do realize that in this time and age that you have to be on some type of social media to get the fan base that you want to get. If you call everybody out and you getting shut down and everything, how you gonna get that fan base?
He's safe on ItsMii.
Yeah, I'm safe on ItsMii. That's all I need. All I need is ItsMii.
There you go.
But check this out. Like back before all this internet, all this stuff, like I called out Chuck Liddell to a for real fight.
Wow.
So I was training in Valencia with John McCarthy, who's a referee for the UFC. Big John McCarthy. And so I was training with him, doing my classes there. Spending 3 hours to 4 hours a day training, fighting. And so I wrote this song called I Think I Could Beat Chuck Liddell, which is in homage to a Will Smith song called I Think I Could Beat Mike Tyson. But at the time, I was in his weight class. I really wanted, and Chuck was the best. I really wanted to fight him. So I wrote this song, ends up getting into Rich Franklin, who is that movie Here Comes the Boom was written about.
Yeah.
It gets into his hands through Steve Adler, which is his manager, or Jeff Adler, excuse me. Steve Adler's a whole different guy. Jeff Adler, I was able to get it to him, and he gave it to Rich, and Rich started playing it and was training to it, and he was putting up all these vlogs saying, I'm only training to this song, blah, blah, blah. So I made some money off of that song, and then they flew me to Vancouver to perform at the pre-fight and the post-fight party. And so we're at the weigh-ins. I'm wearing a shirt that has Chuck Liddell's face on it with birds going around with X's on his eyes, knocked out. And it said, I think I can beat Chuck Liddell with my website on it, right? And they knew who I was because I had sent it to Joe Rogan. I had sent it to their camp in San Luis Obispo, and so they knew exactly who the fuck I was. Okay. And I'm a big guy at the time. I was 240 yoked. I wasn't a little guy, you know what I mean? And he's at the weigh-ins kind of sucked up, hurting Chuck. Okay. And so I walk over and I'm like, hey, no hard feelings. I gave him, one of those handshakes that, hey, I'm right here, I gave him one of those, and he's weak because he's sucked up from the weight cut. But then, so he gets knocked out by Rich, right? Yeah. I'm in the third row. They gave me good seats. I'm sitting behind Joe Rogan. And so I do the post-fight concert, and I'm doing that song. I think I could beat Chuck Liddell.
After he just got knocked out.
After he gets knocked out, and I felt like my power of alchemy, of speaking things into existence, helped Rich Franklin. I'm not going to take credit because he did the job, but I feel like my song assisted in that.
So now you sit here saying that the only reason why Rich won is because of what you put out into the world.
Maybe. If I'm an alchemist, then yes.
Rich, hey, you should be paying Jess.
And that was Chuck's last fight. That was Chuck's last fight in the UFC.
So would you still take on Chuck now, though?
Today. In fact, he beat up one of my friends in the valley over here in Thousand Oaks about 2 months ago.
So you want some revenge?
I've been wanting to fight Chuck.
Are you still in his weight class?
I'll fight. I'll cut weight. I'll gain weight. whatever I need to do. I'll fight Chuck Liddell today. I'll fight 50 Cent. I'll fight Disaster, Eminem, you name it. I'll get in the ring with any one of them.
You can't keep putting M in there because M is not. That's unfair, man.
Look, M.
I think we underestimating him. Come on, man. Why are we doing him like that?
Rapper. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. Look, it wouldn't be a fair fight, but if we did a rap battle, it would be. Absolutely.
Okay.
And
Maybe we make them today. Fight like all slippery and wet, so then it is a fair fight.
No,
because then.
That sounds like a fantasy.
That sounds like a jazz fantasy.
Oh, man.
I'm joking.
No, we're not doing that.
That
is off the table. That is off the table.
I was trying to make the fight fair. Then they're both slipping on each other. You know, it's like, yeah.
But yeah, so. You know,
I
did that song.
You in the ring with somebody, though. You know, you throwing a lot of shade out. Yeah. You have to get you in the ring with somebody.
I will do it. Absolutely. Anybody. And I'll do a song. I'll tell you right now on the air, now that you guys are talking about 50 Cent, I'll do a song about him to call him out. Mm-hmm. And if we can air that, I'll air that song out on ItsMii. That'll be the only way you get it.
Okay.
And I'll sample McGregor when McGregor said, 50 Cent is a bitch, right? You remember that when he said that?
Yeah.
I'm going to sample that. We've been talking. I've been thinking about that. I'll sample that, make a beat, and I'll call 50 Cent out and see what happens.
Did 50 respond to that?
What do you mean?
The McGregor?
I don't know.
Because he responds to everybody.
He responded to, but not with nothing that mattered.
But 50 was trying to fight Mayweather. He needs to tell...
I mean, he tries to fight women. What you mean? He tries to...
First of all, 50 was never going to get in the ring with Mayweather. That was a hype. He wasn't going to get in the ring. I mean, because
he loves the hype.
At the end of the day, Mayweather is a professional fighter, and 50 Cent, we don't even know if he's a street fighter.
Yeah.
You know, so the idea, regardless of the weight class, he knew he would have got in there and got embarrassed. It was just a lot of talk.
Yeah.
You know, because him and 50 used to be boys. Like
close.
Yeah, like
close.
He be turning on people.
Oh, quick.
I mean,
any way that 50 can make $1, he don't care who he turn on to make that.
I know, but he be going like. There's a couple of even there was this. I watched the show Vanderpump Rules, and there's a girl on there named Lala Kent, and she is dating this producer, and he used to work with his name's Randall, and he used to work with 50 on whatever his show is, and they were like best friends, always around each other, and I guess 50 lent him money at one point, 100,000 or something like that, and one day Lala has said something about him that she shouldn't have said.
About 50?
Yes. And 50 said something to her, and she started going back and forth with him. So he started dragging her and him. He was like, everybody's on social media like money by Monday, Randall. Give me my... This little man is running around, fucking gets... Like, it was the most humiliating... Yeah. And I was like, yo, this man be picking on people that he knows.
Yeah, 50 loves
and don't get me wrong, I was cracking up, but I was also like, yo, he's so fucked up. Like, he had the ex-wife up there reposting her. And I was just like, he's so petty.
Yeah,
he thrives. But then again, he's one of those people who had a bad life, and he allowed it to turn him worse than, you know, kind of just like, you know,
show him what not to do.
Yeah. So you kind of get it. He's just like nasty to the core. But yeah, I digress. But yeah.
Well, I'll fight 50. Whatever. Let's go.
We need to get that song out here and put it out there so we can see we can make it happen.
That's right.
It could be an ItsMii exclusive fight.
Yeah.
Deal. We could do it live or do something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. All right. So we talked about the Epstein thing, and we talked about, you know, she kind of hit on the Pizzagate thing,
mm-hmm.
but we didn't really talk about it in depth. What do you think of that?
Well, see, I'm not going to say that I know everything about that, but what I do know about it is I know that they were talking about the adrenal glands and the stuff, and they would kill somebody at the height of where their adrenaline was pumping, and the certain things, and if they drink that blood, then there was some sort of a fountain of youth type thing. And so do I know that for a fact? I don't know that for a fact. Do I know that people were involved in something shady like that? Yes, I do, because why would they cover up shit if there wasn't something to cover up? So yes, there's sex trafficking, yes, there's all that stuff going on, but that's crazy. But they were doing that in China. They were doing that.
Well, people have blood fetishes and they like it.
Exactly.
So I believe I agree. Like I do when I see Pizzagate, I'm like, yes, is there pedophilia? Of course. are there blood fetishes? Do people walk around like them vampires and doing all kind of weird shit? I mean, I even do weird shit when I'm having sex like that. So yeah, I get it. But at the end of the day, like some of the stories with
You drink blood?
I didn't say that, but you know, I'm not saying somebody wouldn't drink mine. But I'm joking.
Yeah, hold on. We're on topic.
No.
Topic now.
No, I'm joking. I'm so joking.
So you make people drink your blood?
No. You know, sometimes I take jokes too far, but I do know people that have done.
I don't think she's joking. You see, she's trying to get back.
No, because
she needs a PR team right now.
I'm so joking. Like but I have like role played like vampire stuff. Like I think it's fun.
Well, you actually broke skin?
No, we didn't break skin because the teeth aren't really like, you know, you don't have to get them where they're like real hard and they're gonna hurt you. So
well, I know, you know, this is you know, Jazz time, but Jazz, I gotta ask, what are some of the weird? Because you know, this is our second podcast, and we've done some preliminary podcasts that we didn't put up, but we've never really gotten into, and we gonna keep it on him, but we've never really gotten into you, so we gonna get
let's
into
go
it.
here.
Forget
about me.
No, there's nothing about me that's important or fascinating.
So a typical let's just and then we'll ask one question and then you can answer it and then we'll move on.
Okay.
But so
I'll
a
agree
typical
to
night with Jazz, what does it include? The guy
I
comes
know
over.
men want to know that's out here.
Yeah, the guy comes over. You peg him.
No, oh my God. No. You know, like I said, I'm a talker and sometimes I talk just too much. And it's a playful humiliation. You know what I mean? It's not anything. It's like
what would you say? What would you say to him?
So I'll give it. No.
Is it verbal
no,
or you humiliate him physically?
I mean, everything starts verbally. You know what I mean? Everything starts verbally. So you know, I date shy men. I do not like.
I'm very shy.
So you know, yeah, it all starts verbally. I hate talking about myself, by the way. This is mortifying.
So you tell him sit down on the couch.
No. I mean, if I'm role playing and that's what we're doing, then sure.
To get some pointers from you, all right?
If I'm role playing and we're doing that, then why not? I'm not like, you know, closed off to that. I'm a dynamic person, so I can be a lot of things.
Give us some examples.
I don't know what example you want. Like, I need specific questions.
You yell at him. What do you yell at him? You tell him, you piece of shit, you need a better job.
No, because nobody needs a better job if I'm dating you. Like, what does that mean? No.
I don't know. However you humiliate a man, I don't know. Emasculate a dude.
No. I think, you know, there's no script. I'm a very intuitive person, and my main thing is connecting with a person, and I can sense how to move with them. I always talk about this. A lot of people like have like very detached sex. Like, I mean, sometimes this is fun too. Like they're basically just using each other's bodies to get off, you know, at times. But you know, I try.
Sounds about right.
No, and sometimes that's great. I mean, you got to switch it up. But for the most part, I like to really connect with the person I'm with. On another level, so we're, you know.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. There's a spiritual element to sex too. There's a very spiritual element to sex.
Yes, the sex is euphoric, and let me tell you, when it gets to that level, a lot of things happen. It doesn't have to be in an aggressive way, but a lot of things happen. And I mean, just shit goes down.
Like pegging.
Maybe.
We're gonna reel this back in.
Yeah.
So have you ever roofied anybody? Have you ever roofied a guy in
No, I've never roofied anybody. Wow. But you know what? I probably have joked about stuff like that when, like, you know, when I was dating somebody crazy, like, oh, I should have did that. Like, I would have been able to get sleep. They wouldn't have fucking, you know, emotionally abused me so much.
Let's talk about a roofie incident. Mr. Bill Cosby.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Bill.
Great.
Unfortunately,
segue.
Bill, before we start diminishing Bill, let's just say and give that man credit for bringing, you know, positive family values to millions and millions of people, and really his efforts on trying to make his community better. He did that.
Can't take that away.
He did that.
Despite all the other accusations that are out there, we definitely can't take that aspect of who he is.
One doesn't cancel out the other, but you have to separate the show from the other stuff.
Sure. You can't.
Like,
his show was amazing, and one of the best family shows ever written. Yeah. Absolutely, and really empowered, and really showed, successful people in careers and how they juggled the different dynamics that families
I get it.
in
The
America
black community needed that at the time, but that doesn't.
It was wholesome.
But at the end of the day, just because we have a couple of, in the black community, I get it. We needed these people, but that doesn't mean that when stuff like this happens, we can't hold them accountable.
Right. And so now how accountable is he? How many of those girls were just trying to make a cash grab? How many of those girls were really roofied? How many of those girls just drank a lot?
And how many of those girls were actually hired to say what? I mean, because people gotta understand the timing of this. Bill and his people were just about to buy a major network right before this came out.
And that would have given him media power.
That would have given him
influence.
Immense media power.
He's still, he's still roofing people though.
The timing of this. I wasn't there, so I don't know what did and didn't happen. But I would hope that people keep an open mind on both sides.
Well, the main girl was with him for 20 plus years, and then finally comes out.
That doesn't mean it. Really, that does not mean anything. I've been in abusive relationships. I've known people to be in abusive relationships. I'm not just talking about women. I've known men too. Staying in situations that are unhealthy, depending on how you grew up or how manipulative that person is. You can be with that person for a long time.
Bill was paying her bills.
Oh, I'm sure he was. A lot of people. That does not mean it. That does not mean anything, though. That does not mean anything. My abuser, my abuser paid my car off and other things. He was fucking abusive as shit. So that means nothing. Like that. A lot of people.
So it's a psychological element.
A lot of. I mean, the girl. Remember, I don't know if you guys ever saw this Lifetime movie, "Girl Under the Bed," like where she was kidnapped and she was kept under the bed. Yes. It was a wife and a husband that did it, and eventually she was writing him love letters. I mean. And this was not even something that she walked into. The mind is a fucked up place. It's a great organ, but it's a fucked up fucking place to be. And regardless, even if some of these, I get it. Like some of these women, maybe they did see like, oh my God, he's Bill Cosby. But you have a responsibility as a person of power when you're in a position of power. I know that I do. When I'm on set and I tell other men when I'm working with them on set, I don't give a fuck what these girls are doing or what they're saying to you. This is you. Act like, carry your head out. You can't do this shit. Because you're in a position of power, you need to act like it. You can't be fucking around and doing all that stuff. You just shouldn't. That's why there's laws in a lot of other jobs about that, because shit like this can happen.
The Weinstein effect.
Yeah, you cannot do stuff like that.
I will say that if what is being put out there about Bill is correct, I don't condone it, and I think he should be. I think he should be properly reprimanded for it. My only concern, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is why? I mean, why are we not saying why? Why did it? And I understand that some women don't come forward because they're ashamed or they think it's their fault and all of this stuff. So they may not come forward for years.
Yeah, man.
But this is a long time that. What is it? 60-something women supposedly didn't come forward for this.
And that's why it's fishy, especially because he was about to gain that amount of influence.
Exactly.
And he was about to become a real lion. A lion with a good track record, too.
Why is it so coincidental that it came out at that time, just when he was about to buy this major
because people do investigate into you. It's just like when people are running for president. Everybody gonna look up your dirt. You can't be making no big moves and you got a bunch of dirt. people are gonna try to infiltrate, and they want the
down.
deal. So he should have kept his head straight, even if it wasn't 60 women and it was 20. It was like, come on, man. This is what I mean about power and people getting.
He abuses power.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they're getting drowned. They're drowning in it. You gotta check yourself and take accountability at the end of the day and chalk it up like fuck.
Yeah,
I had skeletons in the closet, and here they come because I was trying to like get in with certain people. Somebody else probably wanted to infiltrate that. They're like, get rid of that motherfucker. Like, hell nah, I'll get this.
Yeah, that's very feasible.
Yeah.
That's very feasible. But did he have to roofie those women, or would they have gone willingly, or did they go willingly? That's the real question.
People have that fetish though, right? Where
Maybe.
they like that. What is it called? Narcolepsy or something?
I have heard too. When,
Necrophilia, maybe?
Oh, sorry. There we go.
in the industry that they reach a certain stature and they feel that they can get anyone, so they do things that normal people wouldn't do because they feel they're not normal.
Or they're entitled. Are you saying something like that? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility that it took place? Yes, there is a huge possibility that it took place. But I think people need to look at it from an open viewpoint instead of saying, you got the group that's saying, yeah, he definitely did. You got the group that's saying, no, he didn't do that. But where's that group that's saying, let's find out if he really did do that?
That's where I'm at.
And that's where I'm at too. Let's find out if he really did do this.
Like with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, did he really rape that chick?
I don't want to
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
I don't want to say just because he's Bill Cosby, I don't put that past him. No. We need to get down to the root of it and find out why these women that's accusing him may have taken so long to come. Why is it so coincidental with what was going on? And find out if he really did do this versus just saying, no, he didn't, or yes, he did. And to hit on the Mike Tyson thing, I agree. I mean,
same with Tupac. Tupac got shot down.
No way, form, or fashion is this condoning this. But why are you in his room at 3 o'clock in the morning changing your stockings by yourself? I mean, why? Why are you in Mike Tyson's room at 3 o'clock?
What was he accused of?
She was there to fuck.
He was
rape.
Yeah, but
And he got convicted 5 years.
Yeah, but the thing is this.
With no evidence.
The thing is this though. Like, regardless, somebody can go to, just like you can go up to a room with a girl, and you could be like, she could take her clothes off or something. You might be like, oh, hell no. And she might be like, nah, bitch, get your ass down here. You naked already. And you're like, wait a minute. Like something's off here. You know what I mean?
But when do we put the ownership, like, okay, let's say this.
So I get that, but.
Let's say this. When do we put the ownership on her to say, look, I'm going to be smart about it. I'm not going up to his room.
Yeah, but maybe she did. Maybe she did want to fuck him at first, and then maybe it went bad.
Well, that's true.
So that's my point. Like, you can literally be getting close to something, and then and then something could just go wrong. So maybe they're like, they start biting you, or they start.
He did bite eventually.
And then you're like, hell no. You're like soft, and he's like, fucks no bitch. You're like, oh, hell no. You get scared. You're like, oh, never mind. Like, I just dried up. I can't.
I guess there got to be a better way to combat this, or a better way to.
It's a hard
figure this
topic.
out, because, you are getting people that's getting convicted of stuff that they didn't do, but you also are not getting people are not getting convicted of stuff they did do. So how do we, as a justice system, really find out how to get down to the truth about all of this stuff?
Well, and that's my question: is did Mike really need to rape that girl? Did Tupac really need to? I think they ran a train on this
When
girl,
people have
and
power,
then
they want more of it.
They want to get money. Those girls want to get money, and some
rape is a power thing, though, too. So know that.
That's true. So on a psychological level, that's true.
But to play devil's advocate on it, I can't say as a man because I feel like I can get any woman I want to get. Right? That's how I feel. So, but. Is that to say because he's Mike Tyson or he's Tupac that they don't have to rape someone? I can't agree with that, because, like you said, it's a power thing. So,
not about getting
men
pussy.
in power, like Mike Tyson and even Tupac was, they may feel like, you can't fucking turn me down. I'm Tupac. I'm Mike Tyson.
Yep.
So I'm not saying that happened.
That's a possibility.
I'm just saying that we got to get away from, yes, they did, no, they didn't, and get into, did they really do this?
I just know, I worked in a bar like when I was in college, and I used to hear the craziest stories from like men and stuff like that. So, it's not hard and I've just had my own experiences. So it's not far fetched for me to believe, they make it always seem like it's some like bum on the street committing these crimes, but that's not the fucking case most of the time. A lot of the time. And a lot of these, that's why a lot of people don't even want to go after them, because they're like, I can't convict this person or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I don't know. But I've heard stories such as like, I remember once being at a bar and there were a few guys. It was crowded, but I was like listening to their conversation as I'm like making drinks. And they were talking about sexually assaulting a girl and like her not knowing it. They were saying she was on her period. They were like, oh, I can't believe you put the tampon back in. He was like, your ass pulled it out. Yeah. And like, it was like, she woke up and like, I remember being in college and I hear, this is what I mean, like so much of this like fucking, they call it boy behavior, this fucking rape culture. I mean, we encourage men to treat sex as a sport so much that it's just almost like it's growing rape culture, and you know what I mean, and then they don't feel guilty for it, and then they're not.
I think it is a disgusting culture, as you stated earlier.
Yeah,
that's happening by all means, but I think wrongfully convicting people of it is hurting trying to get it corrected. It has to be a better way to really find out if this stuff is really happening that people are being accused of, so that we can get those rapists off the street.
I can say this: a better way would be if women and men both, because men get sexually assaulted a lot. If they,
it happens to me.
Just shut the fuck up. No, this is serious. No, this is serious. No, okay, I know, but his ass. No, seriously, if people felt like they weren't going to be, their sexuality and everything wasn't going to be put on display and they weren't going to be torn apart, and they were going to have people in their corner when they came forward, more people would probably go forward right away. And that's when you have most of the evidence on you. But a lot of people, they're too scared to do that. And then they sit with the turmoil for years. And then, sometimes they come up on their own, or you have the situation like Bill Cosby, where there was probably one woman that came forward or somebody searching for something. And then they went and it was a domino effect. They went and found the others, because that's what a good lawyer will do. They're about to, they're like, hold on.
They have to strengthen their case.
Yes, so they're going to find all those.
The lawyer can actually fabricate.
And they can, that's a whole nother entity too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did that song. So Bill Cosby just got out, and I did that song, kind of from his point of view. Okay. And, you guys can check it out.
So tell us a little bit about this song.
Well, it's just from Bill's point of view, and it's very comical. And so I think when he hears it, he'll appreciate it. He'll get my humor. And I used an old sample from a record that he had done with Quincy Jones back in the day. And so I give him, I try to make it like it's his, him telling his story. But also I'm telling my point of view of his story. So it's not necessarily, in a good light for him either. Okay. But it is what it is. It's the facts. And that's what I do in my music. My name has been around since I was a kid. I've been Jess The Facts, because no bullshit. I'm going to tell you what I see, what I think, what I hear, and what I feel. And I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to throw it out there for what it is. And this is my facts and my reality. And that's what my music is.
Such Libra energy.
So
they're very Libra. Very Libra.
I'm going to have to put you on the spot. I want a couple of snippets from it. I want to hit some of the lyrics from it.
Oh, man.
Yep, got to put you on the spot.
I'd say a line. I say, you want your drink filled? Here, try this pink pill. My whole game is ill as Camille.
Oh, my goodness.
But I reference Malcolm Jamal Warner and Lisa Bonet and Rudy, and I reference that, and I edited a video of some old Cosby Show flick clips and put it together. But it's still a fun song, and it's still it's still having fun, having a laugh, and it's comedy, but it's dark comedy too. and Bill even did I have old vinyl. I collect records. I have a record shop in LA, but there's an old record, and the title of one of the the comedic skits, I should say, that Bill Cosby had on that record was called Spanish Fly. And that's what it was titled. So Bill's been fucking around with Rufy and since the 70s, for sure. Yeah. He knows what it is. There's no, whether he used it or not, he knows what the fuck it is. I love what he did.
Wow. Lord.
I love what he did as an artist, and as he kept it clean, he kept it wholesome. What he did in the bedroom, I don't know. But
it's always the wholesome ones that come
up
off wholesome. You know what I mean? It's always those wholesome ones. They be having I think I maybe get a bad rep sometimes because the way I come off, but I'm actually have a whole nother side to me. But I always notice my friends that are like Susie Homemaker, like with their little, it's a whole nother person, whole nother wildness they're going on. So, yeah. Oh my God, I'm so done with you. On that note.
Well, look, it was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
And we look forward to definitely talking to you again about what's coming up in the future for you. Also, I think, we're talking about the Bill Cosby song. A lot of people going to want to hear that song, so we may have to play it at the end of this episode, if that's okay with you.
Let's go.
Okay. We're gonna take this out, and we want to thank everybody for listening. And everybody, look, you can hear the uncut version of this on ItsMii.com. That's an exclusive. You're not going to hear the uncut version anywhere else but on ItsMii.com.
Uncut sounds so dirty. No, I'm joking.
Well, it can be.
No, I'm joking.
But for the clean version, you can hear it on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and shit, any other place we can post this shit. I mean, to be honest. But again, it was definitely a pleasure.
Thank you.
And we look forward to talk to you again, seeing what you have.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Jess.
And make sure you stop by your favorite creators page and show them some love. Catch you next time. Now listen
to me. Yo, Bill Faxby, call me Dr. Faxtable. In a lab coat, cooking up the capsules. Feel the vibe, yo, the whole turkey's job. The medicine I prescribe will keep you alive. Yo, proof of insurance? Yeah, I'ma waive that. James Brown payback, J-Fax make stacks. Leather couch, relax, lay back. The doctor been penetrating your ear since way back. You need your drink filled? Here, try this pink pill. My whole game is ill, ask Camille. It's getting laughable, everyone's harassable. If you didn't want it, baby, why'd you cook the casserole? Violated asshole, try to rape my cash flow. If the apples will need it, I need to storm the castle. Enjoy the ride, the thermometer's inside of your earbuds, taking the temperature I provide. Hey, it's just the facts, Albert. Not a lot of rappers come close to my caliber. Roofy in a movie, just let it come over ya. Rudy Snooty with the booty, Malcolm Jamal warned ya. Put it in the jello, I got the right formula. Take two of these and don't call me in the morning, love.